Q&A. Yeah, welcome to your paradise, the place you long for all your life. I'm yours truly, Diva Laree. Welcome. Welcome. So glad you're in the house. So glad you're in the house. Welcome. Yes, 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 yes. Q&A. Yeah, welcome everybody. So glad to have you here. And y'all know, I'm yours truly, Diva Laree, representing for UNA University and UNA Republic, where we help you find your social freedom, your financial freedom, and most importantly, your spiritual freedom. Let's go. Okay. I am making sure that I am on my TikTok. Hold on for a second. Hold on. I want to make sure we're rolling on TikTok. Welcome everybody, all my YouTube people. Welcome. So we're broadcasting live on YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and I'm making sure we're up on our TikTok channel, which is one of our most powerful channels. Let's see, are we streaming? And I need this to be made clear, everybody. We say some things here that most those who are running the game, they don't like us saying. So if we somehow get shut down, I want you to go and find us at UNA Republic on YouTube or any of our other streams, TikTok, X, Twitch rather. And we will at some point be on UNA Republic, so that even if they do try to shut this down, we're going to still keep it moving. All right. Once again, yours truly, Diva Laree. Welcome. All right. So we're going to get into it today. Our topic is communication or continuation. If I can read my writing. Continuation into the deep dive of ancient scriptures. So we're continuing our dive into ancient scriptures that we were on last week. And I need to just say this because I have been getting a lot of information and I've got to kind of hone in the topics that I need to go over tonight because there's so much that we need to go over. So I'm going to, what we're doing is we're comparing the Bible to the Book of Jasher, the Book of Enki, and then some other left out books. We included the Book of Enki last week, but there's been so much more that has come in to my psyche that I have to digest. And part of it I'm going to be speaking here tonight, but I have a lot of vetting to do. I got a lot of research to do as I'm presenting this information to you. So I want to welcome you guys into this session tonight. Make sure you ask your questions, put them in the comment section so that I can answer them before I get out of here. Wow is all I got to say, is just wow. Make sure you guys stay tuned for the end of this session because I want to make sure I answer a question that I get often. Okay, I get a lot of people asking me this question, and so I want to answer that. So stay tuned for the end of the session because you too likely have this question, and I want to answer that. Those of y'all who are interested in our membership trust package, all right, this is the membership trust package. I want to make sure that if you're interested in this, my people on TikTok, name, number, email. TikTok, name, number, email. Make sure you send that there. Also, for my people who are anywhere else, find us on UNA University so that we can invite you to our workshop, okay? When you come into our workshop, you'll see all of our products and services, all right? So make sure you get that. Also, we have the beginner law book. I want to say thank you to all the people who've talked to me about the Universal Law Book and how much it means to them. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. It gives me a lot of love to know that people use this information and that it actually helps them when they apply it to their life. Thank you. All right. So the UNA Beginner Law Book. This gives you an idea on what the laws are and how they work, how to implement them into your life. If you get the physical copy, you're also going to get extras of our universal law chart. Okay. Our vibratory, our hierarchy of law chart, civilization cycle, if I can say it right, vibratory frequency chart. Okay, so you're going to get all of those additional if you get the physical copy. Why? We're putting you an extra because we want you to put them up, put them on your walls, on your mirrors, on your refrigerator, because we want these laws to become a part of you. Okay, as they become a part of you and you start implementing them into your life, you see a change. We're going to go through some of these laws tonight as well. But if you've got this beginner law book and you have told me how much it's changed your life and how much it's helped you, thank you. I want you to know I really do appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time to hear the information. I really do appreciate that. Also, tapping into your supernatural powers. All right, this is out. If you want to get any of these books, go to unauniversity.com and you can get these books. Tapping into your supernatural powers is for both men and women. But women, if you really want to know what's going on, get this book so you can find out what your kryptonite is. All right. Find out what your kryptonite is. Get the book so that you can tap into your supernatural powers. Okay. Thank you all for joining. All right. Once again, I'm yours truly, Diva Larie. I want to welcome everybody on TikTok. Welcome everybody on YouTube. Welcome everybody on Twitch and X and Rumble. Welcome. All right. Let me see what we got going on here. Welcome, user. Welcome, Tim Toll. Tim Toll, welcome. All my people on TikTok. Mary, welcome. Shani, welcome. Vivi, Vis, I don't know. Y'all got some names here. I'm having a hard time pronouncing them, but welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. All right, let's get into this. All right. Continuation into the deep dive of ancient scripture. All right. Last week we were getting into this because we went into understanding, the difference between the Bible and, we went into understanding the Book of Enki and the Book of Jasher. All right. We also went into the Book of Enoch. I need to start off here. My women, y'all need to pay attention. Y'all need to pay attention. And I need to make sure I address my religious people. If you're not ready to awaken, please leave this channel right now. If you're not here to learn and awaken, please leave this channel right now because you're about to be shaken up in here. Okay? I'm going into what the facts are and the truth is. And if you're not ready to be awakened, get your behind off this channel. This is not for you. I need that to be made clear. I get people often saying things to me about, well, it's only one God. It's only one God. Meanwhile, they'd be glad to understand this term Elohim, El meaning God, Ohim meaning many, meaning there was many gods. And then they want to Bible thump this book where there's a being saying that he is a jealous God. Meanwhile, if any woman was to hear a man say the words, I am jealous, she's going to have red flags if she's in her right mind. If a woman hears a male say to her, I am a jealous man, she is going to have red flags the minute he says that to her. Then there's never the question asked, if it's only one God, then why would you be jealous? What you jealous of? Who you jealous of? If there's only one, but you come to me and you Bible thump on this book, and I'm not trying to hate on my religious people, regardless of whatever your religion is. But don't Bible thump to me when you don't have an understanding of what you thumping on. Wusa. So you got this being in this book that says, I am a jealous God. Why is that an issue? Jealousy all the way down here. That's lower vibratory. It's lower vibratory. So you saying that you thumping on this book where this being says, I am a jealous being. He's told you he's lower vibratory. And you want to convince me that that's what I should be believing in. Again, if that's what you believe in it. But when you want to grow up and you want to know the truth, then this is where you come, because we're ready to get the facts. And don't believe a word I say. Go look everything up I say. Look it up. Prove me wrong, please. So here we got this God in this book. And this being is saying, I'm a jealous God. But the people reading this book are, first of all, not taking into account the vibratory frequency of this being that they're paying homage to. And secondly, not respecting the fact that there has to be more. Otherwise, this being got to be crazy. That too. And we're going to go through that. Meanwhile, let's understand what the facts are, women. And the fact that there were a whole bunch of female gods, a whole bunch of female gods that were written out of that book y'all call the Bible. There were scriptures that she wrote. As a matter of fact, the first author, women, pay attention, because when I start telling you guys that the original women were the original ones who created and held everything on this planet, you don't want to hear me. When I say women owned all of the wealth, all of the land, all of the riches, all of the knowledge, okay, you don't want to hear that. Meanwhile, the first author was a female. The first known author, the first one who was creating and writing, the first known author was, her name was Enheduanna. That's a woman. We're not taught about that. But if you don't do your research, nobody's going to tell you. Nobody's going to tell you what your powers are and what the fact that this whole planet was a matriarchal planet. They're not going to tell you that there were female rulers that were known as gods. But you're going to listen to a book that says that there's only one God. And that God is a jealous God. Again, I say to you, woman, you were conquered. And if you don't want to know who you are, once again, leave this channel, because I'm going to go deep. When we're talking about this being that was known to have, first of all, when we're talking about the Anunnaki, these are the beings that are written in this book as gods. This book meaning the Bible. These are the so-called gods of the Bible. The one that everybody's talking about, Marduk, he happened to be that quote unquote jealous God. And if you read the Book of Enki, you see throughout that book, he was very jealous of everything and everybody. And he wanted to rule. And eventually he did, because he got most of you people saying, this God, that's a jealous God, that's my God. Well, his real name is Marduk. Meanwhile, there's these Bibles that are out there that had the actual name of the gods, plural, and the vast majority of them were female. So what I want to get into right now is, who is this guy, Marduk? If you haven't read the Book of Enki, I encourage you to read it. So there are books that I'm going to talk about now. I want you, Book of Enki, and all of these you should read, especially the Bible. And as I said again, the Bible is not the perfect word of God. This is a book whereby men have taken the scriptures of women. And remember, the original first writer was out of Mesopotamia by the name of Enheduanna. These were melanated people, by the way, because that's going to come up in this too. So you've got this guy, or these Anunnaki here, that have come in and taken over this planet that used to be a matriarchal society. This planet used to be a matriarchal planet. All across the planet, it was the woman who owned everything. And then she was conquered. And what happens to a woman who is conquered? Well, her history is rewritten. Same thing happened with the melanated people. Same thing happened with the Anunnaki. Same thing happened, is going to happen with the Albion. Same thing happened with the people who have lost knowledge of who they are. And why the government, so-called government, is taking them over, because they don't know who they are. They don't know what their power or authority is. And if you're trying to regain it, you cannot do it in ignorance. And so if you are shrouded in religion, good luck. Musa, I want to go into the Book of Enki. And I want to go into what happened. This is after the flood. Okay. After the flood, there were different territories. And in each territory, they placed an Anunnaki entity there, such that that entity could be controlling that different territories in accordance with the Book of Enki. Now, I need to say this because you hear people saying, oh, this guy, Zachariah Stinson, he was wrong or whatever. I need you to understand a couple of things, and we're going to go through this again. When I read these books, I vet them to see if they are in alignment with science, archaeology, history, etymology, and everything else. Anything I can find, that's what I'm using to vet. And so when I look at this book and then I vet this against other translations, it's pretty much in alignment. There are different variations, like the names are different. Book of Enki and the Book of all of these different books, Enoch, they're going to call, for example, Noah a different name. But you know it's the same character, the same entity. The same with a lot of the other gods. They changed the names, okay? So the books that I want to tell you about, Book of Jasher, Book of Enki, Book of Enoch, and read the Bible. The Bible is a good book to read for the simple fact that it's used to control you still to this day. So it's good to know what's in it so that you can use it to your advantage. But I do want to get into how the woman lost her place in society, because originally all of the civilizations on this planet worshiped a female god. And then there was a switch. And we're going to find out the main one, the first main one that switched over. And I'm going to say it right now so that we know, was the Israels and the Israelites. They were the first ones switched over. And we're going to get into who these Indo-Europeans really were. Also, there's another book that I would encourage you to read, and it's called When God Was a Woman. This book came out so long ago. I would encourage all of you, if you really want to understand the history of how things happen, this book is called When God Was a Woman. And then we're going to find out what happened with the woman and why this society is so jacked up and how we get back. Going into, one second. See if I can go into the Book of Enki. And if you all have the Book of Enki, I encourage you to pull it up. Let's go through it, because I want to go through this last part about how Marduk took everything over. And once again, this is after the flood, and they gave different territories to different Anunnaki. Well, what ended up happening is they started to fight over these different territories. Now, the way they would fight was not where they go boxing each other. I'm gonna punch you in the eye, I'm gonna sock you in, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna stab you. No. They use their humans to fight for them. Okay. And what Enki, those of y'all who know the difference between Enlil and Enki, Enlil couldn't stand the humans. Enki was supposedly the creator of humans. And he would create a set of humans for each different Anunnaki that was controlling the different territories. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to get into this particular book where after the flood, I want to find it here. I want to make sure I got my notes. Thank you for your patience. Thought I had this. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so I just want to find, let me see. Okay, here we go. Put this on the screen for me, Savvy. Thank you. So in this particular book now that we're about to go through, this is the Book of Enki. And it's talking about how Marduk has created this book of instructions on how to journey back into Nibiru in the afterlife. So in other words, when you pass, or these are the basic instructions before leaving Earth, is what this thing he's created. Some of y'all know of it as the Bible today. And what I need you to understand is at this particular time, all of the Anunnaki, they have done different things. They've created, according to the Book of Enki, they have created different, groups that follow them. All right. So what y'all know of as a Nana, she had quite a different group, quite a large group of people in different areas that followed her. And they worshiped her. Okay. And so, but what Marduk had in mind was to go around to all these different groups and say, no, I'm the only God. I'm the only God. It's just me. Ain't nobody else. Don't worship nobody else. But all them other guys, they fake. This is what Marduk is saying. And who is Marduk? That is Enki's son, oldest son. And so we're just going to read some of these highlights and get an understanding of who this character was and what his purpose was in his actions. Okay, so reading here, to the priest scribes, a long book he dictated, the afterlife journey in detail it was described. So this is Marduk, and he's detailing what he wants this person to write on his behalf. Okay, then it goes on to say, of the coming gods to earth by Ra were the priests taught. So he taught these people that there's going to be a God coming back to earth, is what he taught them. Gold is the splendor of life, he said. All right. The flesh of the gods it is to the kings, Ra said. He's saying the gold is the flesh of the gods. And again, remember that the Anunnaki came to the planet of Earth according to the Book of Enki and then all of the other transcriptions to find gold. That was their purpose here. When or to make expeditions to Abzu and the lower domain, gold to obtain the kings he instructed. So he instructed these kings to obtain the gold and send it back to Nibiru. When by the force of weapons the king Ra lands not theirs conquered. So whenever they came across a land that was not under their jurisdiction, they conquer it, they take it over by force with weapons, is what this is saying. His brothers' realms he invaded, their ire he caused to arise and grow. So if this guy Marduk came across his brothers, because some of these people were, they were female and male, but he had brothers and he come across their territory. He's like, well, I'm gonna just take this. And then instead of fighting, he didn't fight. He sent his people that were fashioned, as they call it. They were created in his image. What is Marduk up to? The brothers each other asked. That's over there. Over us, he trampled. So he's trampling over them. And they're like, what is he doing? Why is he doing this? So they went to the father and they called the father Ptah. Remember, Ptah is the father of Thoth as well. And Thoth is Ningujita, one of Enki's other sons that had to do with creating the humans. To be the master of the four regions was his heart's plan. Speaking about Marduk. The earth is mine to rule, Marduk said so adamantly to his father. He said, oh, this is mine. I'm going to rule this. This is the God of the Bible. Let us be clear on this. We're going down here. It says, the eldest of heaven, firstborn who is on earth, thus by the priest to be known he wanted. The foremost from the earliest times, so he decreed in the hymns to be called. He's basically saying, I'm the eldest. And so because I'm the eldest, I'm to be the ruler. I'm the firstborn, put that in the book. Lord of eternity, he who everlastingness has made, over all the gods presiding, the one who is without equal, the great solitarity and sole one, so did Marduk as Ra, as y'all know, Amun-Ra, above all other gods himself in place. He placed himself above everybody else. Again, if you're religious, just not for you. But if you want to grow up, pay attention. Their powers and attributes to him, he by himself assigned. So everybody else had all these great accolades and accomplishments. He just rewrote it and put himself in that place. As Enlil, I am lordship and decrees as Ninurta for the whole and combat, as Adad for lightning and thunder, as Nanar for illuminating the night. What he's doing right here and what this is listing is all of the accolades and accomplishments of all of these other gods. And he just wrote himself in as the one who did this. It's just me. I'm just one. I am the only one. As Utu, I am Shamash, and the girl, Nergal, over all the lower world I reign. As Gibel, the golden depths I know, whence copper and silver come I have found. As Ningujita numbers and their counts I command, the heavens my glory bespeak. By these proclamations, the Anunnaki leaders were greatly alarmed. Pay attention. To their father Enki, the brother of Marduk, spoke Nergal. To Ninurta, their concerns conveyed. They're saying, Dad, bro has lost his mind. Bro has lost his mind. What's going on? So, to Ningajita, which is Thoth, the Anunnaki leaders appealed how to the people, the skies, to observe, to teach. So they wanted to start teaching the people astrology, which today they want to tell you is demonic. You know why they do that? Pay attention, people. They demonize everything that they don't want you to know about. And I do need to say this while it's on my mind right now. Like, for example, Jezebel. They tell, oh, that spirit of Jezebel, the Jezebel spirit. And you got even women being so disrespectful because they have no knowledge about what the quote unquote Jezebel spirit is. Jezebel was a female ruler who was conquered by men. And what happens when people conquer somebody? They demonize them the same way they did Lilith, the same way they do Eve, the same way they do melanated people, the same way they do anybody who they conquer, Wusa. With sorrow did Enki these ongoings watch. How fate the rightful order twisted, he pondered. After the Anunnaki as gods themselves declared, on mankind's support, they instead are dependent. So the Anunnaki at one point, they were ruling over these humans. They didn't want these humans to be equal to them, but now they are dependent upon the humans who now have to learn all of the esoteric knowledge that they never wanted them to learn in the first place. Which is why they're telling you to this day, it's demonic to have this knowledge. It's demonic to read this book. You're welcome to stay ignorant. But those of y'all who want to awaken, pay attention. In the heart of Eden or Eden, which is Garden of Eden, in the midst of the first region, Marduk himself established. Anana's fury no boundary knew. With her weapons of Marduk's followers, death she inflicted. So Marduk was trying to take over Inanna's territory. And let me be clear to y'all, of all of these Anunnaki, the only one that really stood up to him was a female, Inanna, who was like, excuse me, this is my territory. She took all his people out. That's what she did. Not that I'm saying that's good or bad. I'm just telling you, she the only one who stood up. And she was like, he is not going to do this in my territory. So she took him out. The blood of the people as never before on earth, like rivers flowed. After Marduk's supremacy, it was how a calamity to survive a man to choose. After Marduk, Amun, remember Amun Ra, that was his name, became. After Marduk, Amun became Kinship in the second region disintegrated. Disorder and confusion reigned. After a god was wiped out, the first region was disorder. Confusion reigned. In three celestial portions, the ram of Marduk, the bull of Enlil, will replace. So, what this thing is saying is that at this time they were in the era of the ram, and Marduk is the era of the bull. And those of y'all who know, after this era was Pisces, the fish. And so what they're saying is now that there is a changing of the guards where Marduk is going to become reigning, one who himself as supreme God has declared supremacy on earth will seize. So he's declared himself as the supreme. He has, let me say this again, declared himself as the supreme God. He declared himself. Like, I'm that, that's me. Okay. This is the same God of the Bible that y'all are worshiping. I just want to make that clear. We're making it clear here. So you understand who this is. And then we're going to go and understand what was going on before he took this position and these Anunnaki came on the scene. While Enlil, the dream, vision, and its potence pondered, Marduk from land to land went. So he's going from land to land, and he's got his book, and he's telling everybody, I am the jealous God, and believe in me. All them other people, all them other ones, they fake gods. Of his supremacy, the people he was telling to followers gain was his purpose. He wanted more followers. That's what he was doing. He was on a press tour for his Bible. Okay. About the defilements, Enlil was angered. So Enlil is once again one of the main Anunnakis. About the invadings, Enki to Enlil spoke. So Enki is saying, hey man, what you doing? You can't be invading. This is your territory. That's the territory you're supposed to rule. Why are you over here in this territory? The rulers of your region, all bounds have exceeded. You outside of your bounds. Enki to Enlil bitterly said, of all the troubles Marduk is the fountainhead. Enlil to Enki retorted. So Enlil is talking to Enki and his son Marduk, and he's saying, this guy Enki, he's bad news. He's messing up everything. He's stepping over everybody's territory. He's causing all the humans to die. Say something to your son, Enki. Okay. Confessing his transgressions. Watch this now. Watch what this man says. Watch what he says to all the other Anunnaki. He says, confessing his transgressions, but insisting on his lordship, to them he thus said, O gods of Haran, O great gods who judge, learn my secrets. As I girdle my belt, my memories I remember. I am the divine Marduk, a great god in my domain. As Ra am I known. For my sins to exile I went. To the mountains have I gone. In many lands I wandered. From where the sun rises to where the sun sets, I went. To the land of Ishkar I came. I went on a press tour and I talked to everybody and I told them who I am, and I'm well known, I'm popular. I am. He says, in my temple house, let all the Anunnaki gods assemble. My covenant accept. So did Marduk, confessing and appealing to the other gods, his coming announced. He's like, okay, I'm here. This is me. This is mine. I'm telling y'all to let it go because I'm taking it over. By his appeal for their submission, the Anunnaki gods were disturbed and alarmed. They were upset. Like he said, what? He's like, he gonna do what? Okay. Now you got to understand what happened. So they're having this meeting, and he's coming at them like, look, I'm the God, this is me, like it or not, everything is mine. I already told the people because I'm famous, they already love me as Ra. I'm Ra, they love me as Ra. So either you get in line or you're gonna get stomped on, right? So all of the Anunnaki decided on that day, oh really, we're gonna take him out. Now they ain't even really take him out. Well, what they did was they decided to unleash these weapons of quote unquote mass destruction, which is what they were. They were nuclear bombs that they had brought to this planet, supposedly brought to this planet or wherever they came from. They were nuclear bombs that they unleashed. And as we did last week, and I'm going to show you again this week, they unleashed these nuclear bombs, and you will be able to see evidence of them once I get finished reading this. On that day, to Enlil to Ninurta sent the signal. So Enlil, remember, is the main one who didn't like the humans. He was like, okay, on my signal, we're going to drop these bombs on everybody's head. On my signal. The first terror weapon from the skies, Ninurta, which is the son of Enlil, he let loose. The top of Mount Mashu, with a flash, it sliced off the mount's innards, and in an instant, it melted. Above the place of the celestial chariots, the second weapon he unleashed, with a brilliance of 7 suns, the plains, rock, into gushing wound were made. With burnt and crushed stones was the plain of the chariots covered. Of all the forests that the plain had surrounded, only 3 stems were left standing. They destroying everything with these weapons of mass destruction. In the verdant valley, Nabu people was converting. Nabu, the people, was converting Nergal as a caged bird to squash him planned. So they're trying to squash Nergal. Over the 5 cities, one after the other, era upon each of the skies, a terror weapon sent. The 5 cities of the valley he finished off. To desolation they were overturned. With fire and brimstone were they upheavaled. All that lived there to vapor was turned. By the awesome weapon were mountains toppled. Where the sea waters were barred, the bolt broke open. It is done, era in his skyship. In Nergal's heart, there was no more vengeance. Meaning, okay, we did everything we came here to do. I'm ready, we can go back home. I dropped the bombs. We're good. Surveying their evil handiwork, the 2 heroes, by what they saw, were puzzled. By a darkening of the skies where the brilliance followed. They didn't know what they had just done. In other words, they didn't know what a nuclear, because these people who dropping these bombs, they were born on the planet. They didn't create those nuclear bombs. Those things came, according to this book, from another planet. And these people who were dropping them, they didn't have the understanding of what a nuclear bomb would do. So when they dropped it, they were surprised. They're like, wait a minute, what happened? I thought we were still going to drop the bombs and then we can go. No, those things started building clouds, which got picked up by the winds. And the winds carried those clouds. And I'm going to show you how it carried those clouds in just a few minutes, so stay tuned. By a darkening of the skies where the brilliance followed, then a storm to blow began, swirling with a dark cloud gloom from the skies, and evil wind carried. As the day wore on, the sun on the horizon with darkness it obliterated. At nighttime, a dreadful brilliance skirted its edges, the moon and its rising it made disappear. When dawn the next morning came from the west, from the upper sea, a storm wind began blowing the dark brown cloud eastward. It directed toward the settled lands. Did the cloud spread wherever it reached, Death to all that lives, mercilessly it delivered. So you could be living, but when that cloud hit you, you gone. From the valley of no pity, by the brilliant spawn toward Schumer, the death was carried to Enlil and Enki, Ninurta, and Nergal. The alert sounded. Unstoppable, the evil wind, death to all delivers. The alarm, Enki and Enlil, to the gods of Schumer transmitted. Escape, escape. To all them they cried out, escape. Okay, get out of Dodge, is what they say. From their cities, the gods did flee like frightened birds from their nest, escaping they were. The people of the lands by the evil storm had a storm's hand were clutched. Futile was the running. Y'all need to run. We got you. Stealthily was the death like a ghost in the fields and cities. It attacked the highest walls, the thickest walls like floodwaters it passed. No door could shut it out. No bolt could turn it back. Those who behind locked doors hid inside their houses like flies were failed. They died, is what it's saying. So it talks about right here, Babylon, where martyr supremacy declared by the evil wind was spared. You all can take the time to look up Babylon and understand where that was. I need to go into maps and I want to take a look at what's happening and where these bombs were dropped in accordance to this book and what I have researched. So pulling out on that, this is what we see. According to the Book of Enki that I'm in, those bombs were dropped in this, what we know of as modern day Iraq, which is Mesopotamia. And in this area that was known as Jerusalem at that time, which today has been occupied by another group of entities, but it really belongs to the Palestinians. I'm gonna just say it like that, and you know what I'm talking about. But I want you to take a look at what happened. They dropped the first two bombs here and here, and then a cloud picked up that nuclear activity and carried across this land. These light spaces in this territory are not the happenstance. The light spaces that you see in these areas is not there by chance. If you do any kind of research on archaeology and the territories in this area, they will tell you that they were fertile at one time, just like these areas you see up here with all this green, these areas here, all these areas down here, they were once fertile, but you will find quickly that they were hit by some type of radioactive material. That is not happenstance. Somebody did that. That is not natural. And this book of Enki is giving you clues into what happened. And so I'm just going to talk about what this book is saying. And same thing down here, when you seeing this area look like this in Australia, that's happenstance. Something radioactive hit it. And to further show the accuracy of this book, I talked about Babylon, B-A-B-A-L-I-L. If you go, it was in this area here. And in this book, it says that that territory was spared. This would be that territory, Babylon. And you see how it is still green, fertile, not hit by the nuclear activity. Again, I don't tell you to believe anything because I don't believe anything. I just do my research. And then I want to see if it is in alignment with different other disciplines. And if it is, then I kind of give it some respect. And I'm just saying, when I read this book, I got to give it respect because I see that it is in alignment in so many places. Okay, if I have any questions, put them in the comments section so we can get to it. I want to go back to read this because, again, I need to get into this Marduk character and what he actually did. So they go and they nuke all of these territories, killing a lot of the humans in doing so. And what I always told you all is when you put out an energy, the energy must come back. And you've got to understand when they went out and they did all this nuking and the killing of the humans, well, that energy has to be returned to them. You don't just get to live that down. I don't care you call yourself Anunnaki and everybody think you a god. Universe don't care about that. I don't care if you're an Anunnaki and everybody think you're a god and how much money you got and all. Universe don't care. You put out an energy. It's coming back. So the same way they tried to destroy the humans, the same way they tried to destroy the humans, they ended up destroying themselves. The book goes on, Book of Enki goes on to say what had happened will occur, will again occur. So what had happened will again occur is a question. Is the past the future? This is Enki speaking. Will the earthlings and the Anunnaki emulate? Will the earthlings, the Anunnaki emulate? Will Earth relive Nibiru? So what these questions are speaking about is how everything is in a cycle. What goes around comes around. And this is part of the universal laws that we speak so much about. I told you these Anunnaki were well aware of universal laws. And so here this question is being asked by Enki. What happened will occur again. Is the past the future? Will the earthlings, the Anunnaki emulate? Will the earthlings imitate the Anunnaki? They're going to become just like them. Will the earth relive Nibiru? What happened on Nibiru? They destroyed their planet. That's why they needed the gold, because they wanted to shoot the gold up to hide the sky, to hide the sun, because it became too hot. Is that not what's happening on this planet? When some of y'all are so oblivious, it's ridiculous. When we're talking you hear people talk about chemtrails. You hear people talking about chemtrails, and some of y'all so asleep like chemtrail. What is that? Look up and see how they're spraying the sky. And some of y'all are not aware. Just pay attention, because hours after that, whether it be 2 or 4 or 6 hours after that, it's going to be raining. What those trails do is they cause clouds to form. And then those clouds hide the sun, but after that they rain. It rains. Pay attention. They're seeding clouds. But then they want to tell you, oh, that's fake. That's not real. But then you can look up and see it. When I got back into this country and saw the spraying, I was like, do y'all not see that? They was like, huh? What? Y'all can't see that? All the events and decisions, starting with Nibiru to this day on earth, to put in a record, a guide to future generations to become, let prosperity at a time by destiny designated. The record read, the past remember, the future as prophecy understands, let the future of the past the judge be. You are the future right here, right now, today. You are the future right here, right now, today. You are the future. Pay attention, because he's asking these questions. Is this going to be like Nibiru was? Is the past today? Pay attention. They leave these messages, and I say they, all societies, they leave a message. Those who know how the universal laws and cosmic laws work, they have to tell you what happened, because they know spiritually they got to come back up in here. They know spiritually they got to come back up in here. And if I don't leave the truth, then I'm going to relive this again. Yes. So pay attention. What this is saying is, this is Enki saying, we're leaving notice of everything that happened at this time, because that's the responsible thing to do. For one, I know that I got to come back up in this mess. And two, I know that if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. You are them. If their DNA is within you, you are them. If you are saying you human and you come from that martyr, you are him. The question is, are you going to repeat this? Or are you going to put an end to it? That's the question. Going back through this is coming down and going into all right, so this is the end of the Book of Enki, where he's stating that we got to write it to make sure, we got to write this out to make sure everybody knows what truly happened. Once again, please leave your comments in the comment section. If you have any questions, please ask your questions so that I can answer them before I get out of here. I want to go through one other thing in the Book of Enki that I found to be in order with science. Also, before I go through that, let me do this, because I'm going to go through the Bible real quick. And in the Bible, there is verse 12 of Deuteronomy. I always have a hard time pronouncing that. Let's see if I can get the correct spelling. Deuteronomy, and this is 12. And I'm looking at this from the King James Version. And this is going to talk about how this God of this book is saying, hey, destroy everything, because I'm the God. This is, again, how Marduk went on his press tour to make sure that anybody else who was a god, including and especially the female gods, because those was the only one standing up to him, they were statutes and judgments, which ye shall observe to do in the land which the Lord others giveth thee to possess it all the days that ye live upon earth. Ye shall utterly destroy all places wherein the which ye shall possess served their gods, upon the high mountains and upon the hills and under every green tree. And ye shall overthrow their pillars and burn their fire, and ye shall hew down the graven images of their gods and destroy the names of them out that place. So I get it. If somebody wants to worship or respect another God, that should be respected. That's their God given, that's their right. But this being here is saying, no, y'all need to go destroy it. This is another God, kill it, destroy it, burn it, pillage it, burn it down, take it away, steal it. What kind of true being that's operating in a higher frequency would tell their people this thing? Somebody. It's madness to me. If that's what you want to believe in, you have that right. But when I have a Bible thumper coming to me and they want me to, that I know has come against the woman, I know, and we're going to go into that, who destroyed the original order on this planet, where the people had a respect and a reverence for who subjugated the woman. Yeah. And especially a woman come to me about this, not understanding what this being is, and not even having sense to understand a being that's telling you they jealous can't be somebody who you want to trust and follow. You want to follow it, then do it. But I already told you, for me, the universe is who I follow. Kindness, compassion, love, honor, integrity, respect. Those are the people who are my people. I don't care what your skin color is or none of that other stuff. But please don't come to me Bible thumping if you don't know about this book, if you don't understand who these gods are in it, if you haven't done any studying or research outside of it. Do not come to me Bible thumping, because we're going to have to shut it down. I need to go into something else about this book, Book of Enki. And this deals with the creation of so-called Adam and Eve. And we're going back to actually after Adam and Eve were in the garden and they were not procreating. Okay, Adam and Eve were in the garden and they were not procreating. And there was a big issue with that. Let's see. See if I can find it. All right, we're going to go to 111. For those of you all who might be following along, let's take a look at where we are with page 111. I want to thank y'all for joining. Everybody in the comments section. I think I'm going to take a break right here. Let me see what we got. Where are my pages? Let me refresh this. All right, so we're going to go. Let's see, where are we? Okay, so let me take a break and then I'll come back to this, because we're going to get into now how after Adam and Eve were in the garden, they noticed that they weren't having, or they were having sex, but Eve was not getting pregnant. And I want to go through what this book says, because when I go through the other translations, it's amazing to me, but those books are left out. But when I look in the Book of Enki, which is by Zechariah, I'm noticing some things that are very much in alignment with what science says. So we're going to get on that in a second. The Marktastic says the not source, true source. What are you talking about? I'm not sure. Noxa says, I'm hearing you. All right, Noxa, thank you. Thank you for joining. The Marxist says, yes, it is. I don't know what you're talking about. You got talking complete sentences. So who created such a weapon? Narksura. According to this Book of Enki and then other sources, those weapons came by way of the first so-called Anunnaki to reach Earth, according to this book. Again, I'm still vetting this book, but I find that there are things in it that are valid. But according to this book, the first Anunnaki was Lelalu or Lalelu, and with him he brought all of these weapons. And then by the time everybody else came, now on his way to Earth, according to this book, he had shot off one of those weapons because he was being hit by asteroids. So he shot off a weapon. And so once he got to Earth, the other Anunnaki started to come in, and then they found those weapons on his ship, and so they hid them. Okay. And then when this whole thing went down with Marduk, Enki was thinking, okay, they trying to kill Marduk, but they don't even know where the weapons are. But they knew where the weapons were. So he came with 8, and then by the time of course he shot one off, and then the ones that they hid were 7 of them. They hid 7 of the other weapons, and then after that, those are the ones that they ended up dropping across the planet. Let me see if I have any other questions. I didn't. And RDE says, I didn't. You said be ignorant if you want. I don't know what you're trying to say. Let's see. Okay. Let me see if my people on YouTube have any questions. Deuteronomy, yes. What chapter? Deuteronomy chapter 2. Deuteronomy chapter 2. Balance says gratitude. All right, Balance, appreciate it. Reading the Book of Jasher. I really do like that book. I'm not saying it's on point or whatever. I like it. I think it's on point. As a matter of fact, it's less tampered with than the Bible. And if you really want to know about what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah, read the Book of Jasher. It's going to give you a whole lot of insight. And a lot of what they're doing in there now is what they're doing today. All right. Next is the Book of Enki. 10 books, reading goal. Yeah. Thank you, Balance. Welcome. What are the ancient scriptures? So, Father Divine, again, I told you the ones that we're reading from and we're getting insight and intel from. Feel free to get those. And also, When God Was a Woman, get that. Tim Tolbert, welcome. So glad to have you here. And it's an honor to have you in the room. User, welcome. Okay, so let's get to this now. I want to get into this next topic where it's saying, it's talking about how Adam and Eve were in the garden, but they were not procreating. Okay, so put this on the screen for me, Savvy. All right, so at this point in the Book of Enki, Ningujita, who is one of the main people responsible for creating the humans, He decided to create a place, as they say, in the grass, and he just watched Adam and Eve as they were frolicking in the garden. All right. So here it starts. And for those of y'all who are looking, page 111, by the cages among the trees, then Gujita a couch of grass for himself made. Day and night, the earthlings he was watching, their doings to ascertain. Indeed, he saw them mating. The males, the females were inseminating, but the mitochondria was regulating. All right, that's my part. Conceiving there was not, birth giving there was not. Enki, the matter deeply pondered, the creatures once combined, he contemplated. None, none, not one of them had offspring begotten. So, according to this book, let's remember, if you read the book, you'll see it, that there were 7 males and 7 females that had been created, and they were watching all of them, and none of them were giving birth. So they're upset, by the way, that they're not, these beings are not procreating, because they need them at this point, because the Igigi are starting to revolt and they're not doing any work. And the only way they can save their planet is with the gold. And the Igigi were mining the gold, and now they're not. So they need some other beings to come down here and mine these gold, because you know, you would think, well, get your butt out there and mine the gold. No, we need some other beings to do it. We can't do it. The Igigi are not doing it. Well, somebody got to do it. Well, we need the other beings. So they're upset that they're not procreating. By two kind combined, a curse had been created. Enki to the other said. So Enki is like, we cursed. We're not going to save the planet. We're going down. Let us, the essence of Adamu, and Tiamat afresh examine. So Ningajita was saying, Ningajita was like, look, I'm going to look at them. Let me check these DNA. Their MEs, bit by bit, to be studied what is wrong to ascertain. So what he did was he looked at, somebody said that ME could stand for mitochondrial extractions, right? Meaning that they got this table or whatever, this chart, and they're examining all of the DNA of Aduma and Tiamat, which is Adam and Eve. All right, in Sharubak, in the house of the healing, the essence of Aduma and Tiamat were contemplated with the life essence of an Anunnaki males and females. They were compared. So they comparing the DNA of the Anunnaki and the humans. Like two intertwined serpents, Ningujita, the essence separated, arranged like 22 branches on a tree of life. Pay attention here. Hold on. See, this is why I go into science. This is why I go into understanding who we are, because when I look at these things and it's saying whatever they're saying, and this now they're talking about science now. And I want to know, does it match up with what science say? And we ready to find out. We ready to take notes and pay attention. Hold on. So what they're saying here is, like two intertwined serpents, Ningujita, which is Thoth, the essence separated. So he's separating. And what is intertwined? Well, that DNA that strand, arranged like 22 branches on a tree of life, were the essence. Their bits were compared, the images and likeness they properly determined. 22 they were in number. The ability to procreate they did not include. How many is that? 22. Hold on for 1 second. Give me one moment, because y'all like, what they were talking about? What she's on? What she's talking about? What she gonna pull up? Hold on. So we've talked about this. And I've gone through what the X chromosomes and the Y chromosomes are and why we need to be paying attention to what they are. Okay. So I need to show you something that we're not told and should be told. All right, this right here. Now, again, Zechariah stitching, it could be false. But I'm just telling you why I respect it, because it's in alignment with everything that I've studied. Notice when you're talking about the Anunnaki and the female Anunnaki, what he's got to study is right here. Okay, we got 23 over 22 over here. That's what it had. And we got 22 over here. And what's the Anunnaki had 24. By the way, let me finish this so we clear on how many the Anunnaki had. And I'm going to finish this story, and then I'm going to take questions and get out of here because I got so much to talk about next week. Let me get back to my session right here. Okay, let me finish this part, and then we're going to get into it. Another 2 bits of the essence in the Anunnaki present Nigujita to the others showed. 1 male, 1 female. Without them, there is no procreating. So he to them explained. In the molds of Aduma and Tiamat, in the combining, they were not included. So the Anunnaki have 24 according to this. But at this time, the humans had 23 chromosomes. And let's pay attention here to this image. Here are your main 22 chromosomes. Your main 22 chromosomes. But in the male and female, what they didn't include were these 2 sex chromosomes right here. And because they weren't included, they were unable to procreate. This is what gives the penis and the vagina whole thing. Because without that, there's no need for a penis and a vagina. But they created that and then left out this sex chromosomes, both of which are X's. And let's be clear, all of these are X's. All of these in the sperm are X's. All of these in the female's eggs are X's. But they didn't have this 23rd chromosome here. And that's what this book is saying they had to add in order for them to be able to procreate. That's according to the Book of Enki. This is one of the reasons why I give it respect, because it's like this thing is in alignment with science. Okay, let me continue, and I'm going to finish this up. To his elders, Enki and Ninmah, in the house of healing, he whispered. They all, the heroines who Ninmah were assisting, sent away, meaning there was other females in the room. And they was like, y'all got to go. Get out, get out, get out. Why were they being secretive? And why was he whispering? They locked the door behind them. If you stay tuned, you're going to find out why they whispering. They locked the door behind them, the 3 with the 2 earthlings alone remaining. Upon the 4 others, Ningujita a deep sleep caused to descend the 4 he made unfeeling. So he put them to sleep, and then he gave them whatever that is to numb them so that they don't feel the pain when he get ready to cut into them. From the rib of Enki, the life essence he extracted. What was he extracting? Hold on. Okay, I'm not going to be able to find it. He was extracting stem cells. Look it up. Stem cell. Well, what is stem cells? Stem cells can be anything you want them to be. So he's got to go into the ribs of Enki to extract stem cells. You know who else ribs he went into? Into the ribs of Aduma, the life essence Enki he inserted. So in Adam, he put a life essence from Enki, from the rib of Ninmah, the life essence he extracted. Into the rib of Tiamat, the life essence he inserted. He just gave them more Anunnaki DNA. This is where your rib story comes from, by the way. And if you are not aware that the Bible has not been telling you the whole story up to now, I don't know what else to tell you. If you're not willing to study outside of that book, there's nothing else for you. Because if you're not aware by now that it's not possible for a female to come from a male, you're not ready to learn. You're not ready to grow up. So I'm not talking to you. All right. Where the incisions were made, the flesh thereon he closed up. Then the four of them by Ningujita were awakened. It is done, he proudly declared, to their tree of life. 2 branches have been added. In the Eden's orchard, to freely roam, Adam and Tiamat were placed. Of their nakedness they were aware. Of malehood and femalehood they were knowing. Tiamat of leaves aprons made. So what it's just saying is now they knew they was naked. Whereas before they didn't know they were naked. When they added more DNA to them, they became more knowledgeable of their nakedness. They became more aware. From the wild beast to be distinguished. So she made leaves, and this was supposed to distinguish her from the wild beasts. In the heat of the day, Enlil in the orchard was strolling. The shade he was enjoying. Without expectations, Adumu and Tiamat he encountered. The aprons on their loins he noticed. Enlil is like, what is going on? He's seeing that these humans are now running around covering themselves up, which is what they weren't doing before. What is the meaning of this? Enlil wondered. Enki, for explaining, he summoned. It's like, Enki, come over here. What's going on? The matter of procreation, Enki to Enlil explained. The 7 and 7 had failed. So there were 7 of them, as I told you. And they failed to Enlil, he admitted. Ningujita, the life essence, examined, and additional combining was needed. Great was Enlil's anger. He's livid. Furious, his words were. The whole thing was not to my liking. I didn't like this in the first place. For acting as creators, I had opposed. I didn't want to be no God. I told you not to do this in the first place, Enki. The being that we need, it already exists. So were you, Enki, saying. You said it's already here. All we need to do is put our mark on it. Pay attention, people. There was other beings already on the planets. They just inserted their DNA to create another being that they could control. This book is telling you that. And then there's other books. Again, these translations are very much in alignment with the other translations that are coming from the Sumerian civilization. The being that we need is already exists. So you were saying, Enki, all we need is to put our mark on it, thereby primitive workers to fashion, healing heroines themselves put at risk, meaning you put other Anunnaki at risk with this whole madness that you're doing, Enki. Ninma and Ninki were endangered, which is Ninma the sister and Ninki his wife. To no avail was all your handiwork. It was a failure. Now the last bits of our life essence to these creatures you have given, you gave them all of our DNA. To be like us, procreating, knowing, perchance our life cycles on them to bestow. Enlil was angry in these words he was speaking. Enki, Ninma, and Ningujita summons the words Enlil to pacify. So they're trying to, calm down, bro. Listen, it's going to be all right. My Lord Enlil, Ningujita was saying, knowing for procreation they were given. The branch of long living to their existence tree was not. In other words, we gave them how to procreate, but we ain't give them our life longevity. I mean, they still die before us. Pay attention. They don't want them to be equal. They don't want the humans to be equal. So we're not giving them our longevity of life, but we had to give them procreation because we need them to procreate because we got to get to go. Okay. To the Abzu away from the Eden, let them expel. So it was Enlil. Watch this. Then to them, beware, they are needed. Enlil with anger said, so get the ham sandwich out my garden and get to work. The Abzu away from the Eden, let them be expelled. Get out. That's why they were kicked out of the garden. Anybody paying attention? Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. Thank you, Savvy. And then I'm gonna answer any questions I have. Before I get into that, I need to answer this question that's been asked of me a lot. I get this question of why don't those in power suffer? Because everybody, knows that we talk about the universal laws here, which deal with whatever image you put out must come back. And I need you to understand that they are suffering. You just don't see it. And sometimes it's not for you to see. But they suffering. But you know why you see more suffering out here? Because the people doing the dirt is you. The people who are doing the dirt are you. So they're going to hire you to be a cop and take away people's rights and shoot people and rob from people and steal, because that's what they do. They're going to hire you to be a politician. They're going to hire you to be a judge or whatever it is that takes away somebody's right. They're never going to do that. The way that these Anunnaki got in the ships and they shooting up people and all this, they don't do that now. They're not going to do that because it brings the energy back on them. No, they're going to get you to do it. They're going to hire you. They're going to give you money to go out and make these records that are saying nasty, disrespectful things to women and nasty, disrespectful things to your own people. They're going to pay you to do it. They're going to pay you to stand up and act like you a god. But see, they got to make sure you in their control. I need to talk about this group of people known as the Indo-Europeans. The Indo-Europeans. I said to you, please go and get that book titled When God Was a Woman. And in it speaks about the Indo-Europeans. And when we hear the term Indo-Europeans, we think of Albion people. But I think they were something even more than that, according to how they were described. We think of just skin color, but I'm pretty sure, according to what they have done and what their history cycle is and says, they are more than just light-skinned people. So your typical light-skinned Albion people that you see, they might be light-skinned in an Albion, but I don't think they're Indo-European. When you're talking about Indo-European, you're more so talking about like the so-called Jays. And I don't want to say it because I don't feel like TikTok kicking me out of my little session. But the Indo-Europeans played a large role on those who were of the Israelite or the Torah and all of that. They played a large role on that because before that, it was all matriarchal. Everybody knew on this planet that if you want to own something, you got to go through the woman. When it comes to land or knowledge, it was the woman that held that place. And it was at the time when these religions, in particular, the one dealing with the Bible, the Torah, the Mosaic laws, these Indo-Europeans played a role. And as you saw in the book, these were the main ones responsible for not only conquering the female god or the goddesses, they conquered women as well. And so, again, I'm not telling you, oh, believe in this, believe in that. For me, I don't care about your religion. Do you walk in honor and in harmony with universal principles? If you do, that I'm loving you. You my people. But you need to understand what these books are that you're worshiping and who these gods in these books are that you're worshiping. And if you're coming to me Bible thumping, then I got a lot of questions for you. And if you can't answer them, then please sit down and go sit in a corner and study somewhere. Again, this channel is for those who want to grow up and who want to understand what's really going on with this planet and where we are, what has happened. So those people, getting back to the question, why don't they suffer? They are suffering. You just don't see it. And the reason why you see more suffering, because it is the people who they hire to do their dirty work. And the universe is not concerned with, oh, well, they told me to do it. They paid me. What am I supposed to do, God? What am I supposed to do, universe? What if you don't know the law? Ignorance of the law, and I'm talking about universal laws, is no excuse. So just because somebody is paying you and you think, oh, they told me because they paid me, that's no excuse. You will receive the energy back. So the minute you stop doing the bidding of these so-called Indo-Europeans, these were not melanated people. Stop doing the bidding. These are the ones, these so-called Indo-Europeans, they're the ones who's running everything right now. Not your Albion, they don't own that. Your typical Albion, the typical one you see, that they don't own nothing. They think they do. Well, I got a house and I got it this and I got it that. You don't own that. Did you register it? All of them registered something. That means they own nothing. What's the problem going on here today? This planet was originally a matriarchal planet. Everything went through the woman. All of the original religions, one of which is paganism, which they want to demonize. Listen, pay attention. All of these things that they demonize, these are things that were originally here. And that is how the enemy, that's how they do what they're going to do. If they want the people to not like something, they're going to demonize it. The same thing they did with Gaddafi, the same thing they did with Saddam Hussein, just demonize it. Meanwhile, the people who they're talking to are clueless about what really happened. So they want you to demonize Jezebel, who was a ruler, a female ruler, and conquered by the Indo-Europeans. And I need y'all to understand that the original Europeans were melanated people. Notice I said Indo. And they're the ones who brought in this whole light skin is better than dark skin thing. And then the melanated people are demonized. I'm not telling you, again, that these people are the same as your so-called Albion. I think that these Indo-Europeans, they are the Jays, the so-called Jays. Telling you what I see. And the problem on this planet is that people have forgotten to revere the feminine. That somebody told you the feminine was weak. The feminine was hell. And then the woman is clueless about her power. Now she believes something outside of her is supposed to bring her power when the power is within her. But they demonize you when you start looking within and you listen. The power is within you, not outside of you. The power is within you, not outside of you. And if anybody tells you the power is outside of you and they want to demonize you for going within, you know you're listening to somebody who's ignorant. Step away. The power is within you. And now they're telling you, they're demonizing you because you want to study and find out, well, what really happened on this planet? Then you really find out that all of the things that are demonized, whether it be Lilith, whether it be Jezebel, whether it be melanated people, the woman, is because they ruled at one time. And so the way that they keep it out of your mind is by demonizing it. Then you go, well, I don't want to know about that, because then I don't want to be no demon. Your power is turning back on, women. Your knowledge is returning, women. You don't get it by being stuck in religion. And I'm just telling you what it is, how it is. Because religion was created to subjugate you, whether you want to believe it or not. Do your researching. We have forgotten to revere the woman. And number two, woman, you have forgotten who your true God is. You worshiping everything but what's within and the Most High. And that ain't no dude. Sorry. You worshiping everything but what's within and the Most High. The Most High is all of us collectively. You worshiping. You have put a man in the place of God. The original was Christ, woman, child. Christ, woman, child. And now they came in and replaced Christ with man. Now all y'all hearing is man, woman, child. It's supposed to be man, woman, child, man, woman, child. What happened to your God, ma'am? You worshiping him. Have y'all listened to these songs that are out here? And they talking about men and I miss you and you my world and without you I can't. You're gonna replace God with a man. The problem is you. The minute you wake up, you get to clear all this up. Somebody put you in a coma. The minute you wake up, you get to clear all this mess up. Somebody keeps, in my class was saying, one of my students, well, you know, I'm going to be dead and gone by it. No, you won't. Let 10% of the women wake up. That's all we need. And this whole thing will flip so fast. You need to awaken, ma'am. If it's not a man, you done put into place some of y'all money. Especially men, money is your God. You forgot. And so when I'm talking about the universal laws, and I have people who try to come into the university, and you can see it in their face. All they got is dollar signs in their eyeballs. I be looking in their eyeballs. I be like, all I can see is dollar signs. That's your God. You're in the wrong place. Some of y'all are so addicted. You can't tap into source because your flesh has a control over you. Whether it be marijuana or alcohol or some kind of barbiturates or some kind of hallucinogens, you can't tap into source because your flesh has you wrapped up. But you want the dollar signs. You want the money. You couldn't hold on to the money if I put it in your hands. I know, because I've done it. Why is it that people win the lottery and they can't hold on to their millions? All these athletes that get these millions and then they end up broke. All of these rappers and singers and actors, and they broke because they're spiritually broke. Your spirit is broken, so will your bank account. Let me see if I can answer any questions. I want to thank everybody for joining. Matriarchal society here prior were the Lemurians. I'm not familiar with the Lemurians, but I will definitely, as a matter of fact, let me write it down. I'm not familiar with them. But you might be talking about, I know about the Sumerians. Maybe you heard me say Lemurians. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Lemurians. He's talking about the land of Mu. There was a group of dark beings who migrated from the land of Mu, according to my research, into what we know of as the Americas. Those were large people. I'm going to talk about these so-called giants too. You know, another group of entities that they demonize, and I want y'all to look into this. The so-called, who are the giants? Put it in the comment section. I forget the name of the giants. But whoever those giants were, they demonized them. But I need y'all to know, those giants were here long before the Anunnaki showed up, or whoever the Anunnaki were, those giants were here. And how do we know that? Because there were trees so tall on this planet that a leaf was a mile wide. That's how tall the tree, you know how tall a tree has to be for the leaf to be a mile wide? Okay, so what I'm trying to let you know is that somebody chopped those trees down. And I told you all that movie Avatar is a documentary. So they demonize these people to you, and they tell them, oh, the giants were evil and the giants were this. There was another being on this planet before those entities got here, and they were giants. And the only way there could be giants is if there was trees that would support them, because they got to eat. So there got to be trees on the planet in order to support them. And those trees were here, those giants was here, and it didn't come from them. Oh, they made it with the humans. The Anunnaki made. Well, Noah came from a human and an Anunnaki. So did there was several other entities that came from a human and Anunnaki. They weren't giants. See, again, the book is lying to you and demonizing these entities, the Nephilim. They're demonizing these entities because they wanted to rewrite their history, not tell the truth about what happened to them. The same way they demonizing the female gods, the same way they removed the female gods and their names from the Bible. There used to be different god names in the Bible, and they replaced them with Lord or God. Why? Because a lot of them were feminine. And remember, we talked about how Marduk came in and tried to take over, or no, not try. He took over all of the attributes of the other gods. Yeah, that was a man. And again, I'm not dissing my brother. I love my brother. But I'm letting you know, woman, that you were conquered by the man. And it was the melanated man. Let's be clear on that. Somebody called me. What did he call me? He's like, he said, you're disrespectful by telling people that the melanated people did this. Yeah, melanated people was doing dirt first. So if you think that's brutal or disrespectful, when you get into university, it's going to be straight up brutal. All right? Thank you for that question. Lemuria. The Lemurians on Lemuria, land of Mu. This would be your Washita, M-U-U-R-S. Please don't come at me with that garbage term, M-O-O-R-S. They are not the same. Jawashita, M-U-U-R-S, would be your original brown, large brown people coming from that land known as Lemuria. So Aduma and Tiamat as Adam and Eve in the Book of Enki. Yes. Thank you for that question, QO. Grateful to be here. She don't play. Ashe. Thank you to Chosen. Let's see. Flip the truth. Yeah, that's exactly what's been done. Angelic here, the message I ordered the beginner's law book, also tapping into your supernatural gift. Looking forward to my growth within. Thank you, Angelic. Sisters, I need y'all to grow within. I need you. We need you. This planet needs you. You got to wake on up. Somebody is telling you that your power comes outside of you, and you're not going to find any kind of cleansing with that. It comes from within. And anybody who says that what you tapping into yourself and that your power is coming from within, if they telling you that's demonic, you need to step away from that entity because they don't know truth. I've heard people say that the Book of Enki is demonic. He doesn't have a clue. He never read the book. He doesn't study anything outside of the Book of Enki. If I were to start asking him questions about the Bible and where it came from and all of the different gods in that book and what happened before that, he don't know the history of this planet. He's clueless. If you hear somebody doing that, then they're speaking out of ignorance and you don't want to be around that. I'm just letting you know. And don't believe a word I say. Please do your own research. I want y'all to know I love you. We got some work to do, women. Let's go. Divalerie, I'm out here. I'm going to see y'all Friday, next Friday. Give me a hug. Give me a hug.